Well, good evening, everyone. State Representative Brad Halbrook, along with um, Representative Dan Caucus and Representative Chris Miller. Good evening, gentlemen. What's going on?
Oh, great, great. Cold, cold.
It's like March is here again in the middle of April. I thought
Yep.
Easter was here, and the more senior in the past, our senior advisors in the past, it says that the weather never straightens up until Easter comes and goes, and we've had that now. And I thought the weather was supposed to straighten up, but I don't know, Dan.
All I know is I hope my little bean seeds have their mittens and their scarves and their hats on because they're gonna be cold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, another frost or freeze warning for tonight yet. So, man, I kind
Yeah,
of hope we put this behind us just a touch. So, hey, guys,
right.
thanks for tuning in tonight. And again, we are here to pursue a relentless pursuit of truth, logic, and common sense. And hopefully, we're live out there in the ether tonight and hopefully in demand from this point forward, recorded. And like we've said in the past, gentlemen, and I think everybody will agree, this is the safer, smarter alternative to anything else that's available
Yeah.
anywhere, broadcast or Ethernet, Webernets on Sunday night. So anyhow, so Dan, what's going on in Macon County?
Oh, not too much. It's been a kind of a lazy weekend. We've had Joe's out in Colorado with her sister and family, and I got the two cats and trying to catch up on some stuff around the house and up at the shop. So just kind of been working around, staying low, enjoying peace and quiet, and gearing up for the last couple of weeks of session for sure.
Exactly. And we got more to talk about where we've been and where we're going to go in the next few weeks. Chris, welcome. What's going on over in Coles County?
Well, it is absolutely fantastic to be on here this evening. And when we have things like this, it just reminds me of the kooks that think that we have global warming because it seems really cool where I'm at right now for April. And we're looking forward to someday when the adults in the room will stand up and point out that this is the biggest sham that's ever been perpetrated on the American people. And so I don't know what's going to take for them to wake up because this is downright stupid.
Yeah. I was watching a video of Senator Kennedy from Louisiana. Is that right? And he was asking, it was some Senate committee hearing, and he was asking a couple of people there that was to testify if the United States government spends $50 trillion to make us carbon net zero, whatever the terminology is, by 2050, how much will that lower the global temps?
Right.
And the response from these experts is, well, I don't know, because we don't know what China's going to do. We don't know what all these other countries are going to do, right? We don't know. And then, of course, he
Well,
goes on, and then he comes back and says, well, what if they do all this spending? What will be the temperature that we're shooting for if they spend all the money and do everything that we're doing? Well, you know what the answer was. He still didn't know.
cricket.
Crickets.
Well, even the so-called experts that will take a shot at it, the amount, if they do all of the above, the amount of change that they're going to affect is almost unmeasurable.
Right.
Which is it's just another form of insanity brought to you by the radical left.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Well, like our Congresswoman said, this is the green bad deal. And this
Yeah.
is just a way to transfer wealth from one group of people to another group of people.
Yeah.
And just not a good deal. Not a good deal.
Right.
Well, guys, we had a visitor to the Illinois General Assembly midweek on Wednesday. He spoke to a joint session of House and Senate, and that was the mayor-elect of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. Wow. And I know we had a big press conference after that. Dan, you had some interesting comments to tell folks based on what we've seen a couple of weeks ago. Is that going to be like the Summer of Love 2.0, you think, the beginning of what we saw just a few years ago in Seattle, that the mayor of Seattle called it the Summer of Love, where folks took over a few city blocks and renamed it an autonomous zone. And if you remember, they called it CHOP or Chaz. I don't remember now what all that was about. But is that Dan? Are you looking to the future? Is that what you think might happen in Chicago?
Well, I don't think it's the same. Chicago has a totally different problem than Seattle or Portland in that, those are the West Coast Antifa thugs and, paid rebel rousers and insurrectionists. Chicago has its own, I guess, unique, maybe not too unique, brand of violence. We have a huge gang problems in Chicago, and they trickle down here. And I give Mayor-elect Johnson some credit because exactly what he said is true. What happens in Chicago affects all of Illinois, and it does. But it affects us negatively. We're 3 hours south of Chicago. Take the interstate down. We have gangs here in Decatur and also Springfield. Not so much. Champaign, Urbana, and Bloomington is not nearly as bad for some reason. But this is what we've seen in Chicago the past weekend was not an aberration. We've seen it go on over and over again where somehow on some social media platform, these gangs of youth just swarm downtown Chicago. They just come out of nowhere and they just take over downtown. We used to hear about the cars and the, doing donuts in the street and blocking traffic and, but this is far, far worse. And it's not unique. And I don't think the police have an answer for it. And I was to your question, my remarks were to, and I hope it got out because I feel badly. People are going to come to Chicago for the Democratic National Convention to nominate their presidential candidate, and they're going to find themselves in a very, I think, violent environment. I don't, you can take a bus from, to your hotel and they can put chain link fence up around wherever and corridor and off. But, sooner or later, those folks are going to want to go to dinner. They want to walk around. They want to see the river and all the beautiful sights that Chicago has to offer. And they're going to be exposed to something that I don't think people from other states are prepared for.
Yeah,
it's not good, but they need to know. I mean, they need to know what they're coming into, and that was the point of my remarks at the press conference.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that, and I'm sure the security will be beyond belief. It'll have to be. So
yeah, but we still you can't control 1,000 young kids
right
that just come in to take over downtown.
Right.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Right.
If they could do it, why haven't they?
Right. Right.
That's it.
I know.
Question.
I know that we've got a gang of 78 that is terrorizing Sangamon County and the citizens of Illinois on a daily basis.
Yeah.
They did get a reprieve the first 2 weeks of April and here over the weekend because nobody was there to screw things up.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. The mayor talked about how in his opening comments that how did he put it here? He praised the General Assembly for legislation passed that increased investment in social services, contributing to what Johnson earlier referred to as the vanguard of progressive policy.
Oh my!
Is there any troubling thoughts there, Chris?
Yeah.
You can see how this vanguard looks. You don't need to look any further than maybe New York City, Detroit, LA, every place that these progressive, quote, whatever that means, ideas are put into play. There's a trail of destruction from Connecticut to California, and it makes a stop off, like I say, in Michigan, Illinois on its way out there, kind of hopscotches over there, because there isn't one example that anybody can point to where these policies actually work. And they aren't going to work here in Illinois, and they aren't going to work in Chicago. They fail miserably everywhere they've tried. There needs to be the cry from the people needs to be the return to law and order and consequences for bad behavior. And if the consequences are severe enough, guess what? The behavior, voila, changes.
Right.
It's incredible how that works.
Right. Dan, he talked about the state's credit upgrades, and he also says here, he said the state's budget would be a model for his incoming mayoral administration.
I think the state's budget is is modeled after Chicago. Actually, our budget is just so full of BS.
Right.
I mean, it's just. Yeah, I'm trying to keep this family. I know this is the family hour. I can't. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up.
Right.
The things that we spend money on, and no matrix. There's no success. Did this work? How did it work? What can we do to make it better? No, it's just write a check and make sure that Uncle Fred has a job and the kids get employed. And I mean, this is the Mike Madigan budget. Take care of your friends, and your friends will take care of you. And that's exactly what we see in this budget. I don't know. I think this year, and I go back. You guys probably remember my first little floor speech deal with my thermometer when the governor proposed his first budget. And I said, there's a $2 billion hole in this budget. This is what you propose to spend, and this is where the income is. And this doesn't balance. And it hasn't, and it doesn't. And then we got bailed out by the feds with billions of dollars of COVID money. But we've started all these programs. And I don't know. They're going to have to make a choice. Brad, you sit on the budget working group. They're going to have to make a choice, and I don't know I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah,
Dan, you don't understand how this works.
I think I do.
No, see, JB is going to go out and tell everybody that he has a balanced budget for the 5th year in a row. And nobody in the media is going to question him, and so he's going to lie with impunity to the good citizens of here in Illinois. Nobody will push back except for us, and he will get away with another whopper.
Yeah. Well, guys, here's another interesting quote. Johnson told us, my mission in Chicago is to bring about the same smart, responsible, bold approach to budgets that have delivered here in Springfield.
It hurts. That hurts. That hurts.
I mean,
it just hurts.
You try not to. I mean, this guy's trying to be serious or not? I mean,
He is trying to be serious.
I just don't get it. I mean, billions of dollars of unfunded pension liability, and on and on and on. The list goes on. I mean, I think when Lori Lightfoot, her first trip down there 4 years ago, I don't remember. I think she was asking for, I don't know, 25 or $30 billion to bail them out 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You remember Rowan and Martin laughing? I think that Let's Go Brandon could be on that show on a regular basis. Him and JB both.
Right. Yeah, and we probably need to move on, but this last one just kills me. He says Johnson added that the state's progressive values were key. I'm not sure the key to what, but Chris, you may.
I was waiting for the catchphrase.
They're just the key, right? They're just the key.
It's a key. Yeah.
Probably a key for the wrath of God to fall upon Illinois.
Right.
Well, I tell people, Illinois is an example. It's not a good example, but it's an example.
It's an example.
And
If
you
you
may
want to
not,
screw up your state, we've got the perfect blueprint.
If you
that's
need
We're
it.
going to patent
the,
it.
the model legislation, the model whatever to screw it up. And Chris, you've
Yeah.
talked about this in the past few recent weeks. This is, boy, come to Illinois, and it's all right here.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
Well,
see that. We'll see
right.
that when JB runs for president.
Mhm.
He'll want to take the Illinois model and impose it on the rest of the country.
Right.
And I think it's too late because the United States, the United States is, what is it, Chris? Like the $36 trillion. We've got, Mary's out trying to fight raising the debt ceiling again every year.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
See, our problem in Illinois is we don't have a printing press to pretend like we have money.
Right. Right.
Well, but what we have is a pack of lies and a shell games,
Mhm.
and they move money from the left pocket to the right pocket, and they go, look, oh, we got all this money, and then the guy, well, what's in the other pocket? And they go, oh, well, let's move it back over here, and there it is. Oh, we got plenty of money over there.
Yeah. They
And-
ought to be
And then they
Houdini.
go borrow more.
Right.
Yeah.
So if things are so good, why are we out borrowing more money?
Well, desperate people gamble and sell drugs. And
Right. Yeah.
that's where we're at now. Those are two of our big businesses there in Illinois, gambling and drug sales. Perfect.
Yeah. And Illinois seems bent on making more and more of that happen. So,
Yeah.
hey, guys, let's wrap it up on him. Let's talk a little bit about what happened this week. We were back 3 days after a 2-week Easter break and didn't see a whole lot of floor action. I don't know. Did we see 8 or 10 bills? Maybe a lot of committee work. Senate bills are coming over. An interesting bill we saw on Thursday, I think. I don't know what. I'm not sure if this was the most interesting bill or not for the week, but it was about banning devices that would disable vehicles. Any thoughts on that? That was a lengthy 40-minute discussion. The bill failed ultimately, didn't get enough votes, but interesting debate about that bill.
Well, this is, and I didn't know this was going on in Illinois until the bill came up. But evidently, if you are a risky borrower, in other words, you don't have a solid credit rating, but you need to borrow money to buy an automobile, the lenders have the ability to put this little device that plugs this device into your car, probably into the port underneath the dash, where you do your diagnostics. And if you don't make your payments, they can disable your car remotely, which is kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
And ordinarily, I wouldn't be for, that kind of a electronic device in somebody's car, particularly if it can track your movements. And
right.
I mean, it's a huge invasion of privacy. But this is, as it was presented to us by Representative Ma, this device is put in there so if people are willing and they know it's in their car, they're given a break on the interest rate. So the lenders will charge a lower rate if you allow them to install this device on your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And then if something bad happens in your life and you can't make your car payments, the lender can then disable your vehicle. And you then, you can call them up and renegotiate or talk to them or get your stuff out of the car before they come and pick it up. It's kind of a strange idea, but it evidently works.
Right.
And Representative Ma's bill would have eliminated the ability of these lenders to place that device in a car, because she said that these lenders were disabling people's cars that they need to go to work or get their groceries. I mean, it was all the violin was playing and the lights dimmed and tears were coming out. And, it was the typical Democrat emotional appeal. We've got to do this for these poor minorities and their loans. And And, it made no sense because,
There is a way to avoid that.
yeah, pay your bill.
Pay your bill. Duh.
And no lender wants the car back. They
Right.
want their interest. They want their money. They're not just deciding, well, Chris didn't make a car payment. He's 5 days late already. Let's just disable his car and go get it. They don't want that.
No.
So anyway, I kind of spoke. I did speak about it because I know people that have had a problem having their car towed. And so the other alternative is when you don't make your car payments is they come and take your car. They send the wrecker out, the recovery guys come out and they hook your car up wherever they find it and tow it. And you could be at work, you could be at the grocery store, you could be at school, you could be at home. They don't care. When they spot your car and it's on their list, they hook it and away it goes. Well, your stuff's in the car, whatever you left in your car. You have no idea where it's going and you don't have a way to go get it. And you can't get it out of the yard until you pay the lender. Right. So now you've got a $250 towing bill, a $50 a day storage, and you have to renegotiate or catch up on your car payments.
Right.
Where, it was an absolute travesty to put people through that when the lender can, disable the car and you can call them up and say, let's make a deal or let me get my stuff out of the car before you come and take it at least.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it was troubling on many, many levels. And, but it has been a voluntary program and supposedly it gets a lower interest rates on folks that are risky investments. And it is, Dan, you've said it right. I mean, it really lessens the cost for the automobile owner or the recipient.
The borrower. The borrower.
Because they don't have to pay all those fees to get their vehicle back. They just go and, common sense is not prevailing in this discussion.
Oh, it did in this case, though.
Yeah, well, right. It failed 50. I think what they get 51 votes maybe or something.
Yeah, maybe.
That. It needed 60. So it's probably going to come back if the sponsor can find the votes. But
I don't think it's coming back.
Probably not. Probably.
I talked to a couple of Democrats on our way out Thursday, and they had no idea the ramifications of that bill. And they thanked me for, kind of giving them a true life impression of what's going to happen to their constituents who may have some tough times.
Right.
So I doubt seriously if she brings that bill back.
Right. Well, hopefully not. Hey, now there's a big couple of committees, I think tomorrow morning, Public Utilities and Energy and Environment. You guys are both on both of those, right? One or the other or both? Yeah. And so looks like it's going to be subject matter hearing, and it looks like the main thrust is about CO2 pipelines and the like. Dan, I don't know if you are up to speed there on what's happening, but it looks like 11 o'clock tomorrow, big Public Utilities, big Energy Environment Committee meeting, going to talk about CO2 pipelines and transportation and the like. You get any insight there, Dan, about that? What's really going on?
I strangely enough, I have not heard from anyone. You would think normally the interested parties would reach out to members of the committee to kind of give us a heads up or a brief on what they, what their intentions are. If people want to watch, it's going to be live streamed, ilga.gov, and you can go to the committee, there's even a better way, isn't there, Brad? You can, because they have the live, on the House side, you can just go hit the live button and watch. You can watch this committee hearing. Somewhat controversial. I don't know. I've heard this pipeline is coming. It's not coming. They're bringing in CO2 from Iowa, Nebraska, North Dakota, Illinois. Now it's just Iowa and Illinois, and I don't know. It'll be an interesting joint House Senate committee.
Right. Well, a page that I watch pretty frequently, and it's in my district. It's just to the west of me. Protect Christian County, and they put up some recent art. Well, they put up a lot of stuff, but they put up a really good story about what happened in Mississippi in relationship to a ruptured CO2 pipeline a couple of years ago that was just used. They were just transporting the CO2 into oil wells for some enhanced crude oil recovery, and they had a rupture there. And it was quite the interesting story that was put up just a few days ago about what happened there in Mississippi. So I would urge everybody, protect Christian County, or just Google Mississippi CO2 pipeline rupture, and you can get some of the details on that. But that's a big committee. And again, we've got a lot of committees this week. Couple things really, guys, we want to talk about here as we kind of wind down is this big pro-life march rally on Wednesday. Yep. And I've got a graphic I'm going to try to bring up here. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Yep. So, Wednesday, the Illinois Right to Life is sponsoring this event, high noon, right, on the east side of the Capitol at the Lincoln statue.
Yes.
Okay. And you guys can see the details there. But the Illinois Right to Life rally on the east side of the Capitol, Wednesday at high noon. And again, we'd invite you to come up and come early. And if you're coming, let us know. And if you need anything, we'll try to make arrangements and accommodations for you so you can enjoy your day. Probably going to be a little bit cool than a late April day might normally be, right? So kind of dress accordingly.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the other thing I want to bring to attention, I don't have a graphic to put up yet, but the National Day of Prayer is a week from Thursday. And there will be an Illinois prayer breakfast in Springfield, and we'll be posting links to that if anybody's interested in coming to that. It'll be a 7:30 Thursday morning. I believe that would be the 4th or 5th. 4th of May is the date on that, on the Thursday. What else is going on that we need to leave with our viewers tonight, gentlemen? Any thoughts? Any other questions, concerns?
Do you know where the prayer breakfast is going to be?
It will be at the State House Inn, which is just a block and a half straight north of the Capitol at 7:30. And there is a RSVP link that we can post up as we get closer so folks can take advantage of that. Or the Facebook site is Illinois Prayer Caucus. And again, there's some renewed efforts for legislator prayer meeting just before the first day of session on Tuesday. There's some efforts to bring the community back to the Capitol on Wednesday, just before noon, also to be there. So there's just some efforts kind of being renewed to bring prayer back into the Capitol, both from the legislator standpoint and from the community. So again, probably multiple sites out there. I know Dave Severin had put up a site a couple of years ago before the virus hit called Pray for Springfield. That's a Facebook site you can go to, and then the Illinois Prayer Caucus. So yeah, what else? It's kind of all I got. Unless there's something else on you guys' mind before we close out.
Nope, I'm just hoping we get some stuff done this week. Last week was pretty, I don't think we did a doggone thing hardly on Tuesday or Wednesday. A little bit more on Thursday, but good night. We're winding down, and it seems like there's a lot of work left to do.
Right. Yeah, Dan, what we got? 4 weeks, Dan, about 13 days in session.
Yeah, we'll be there 4 days next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Mm-hmm. We're scheduled to be in all 4 days next week. And then, of course, you talked about Monday's subject matter hearing. We're keeping our fingers crossed and working hard to not get this Bloomington Normal Airport deal run through the committee. It's a big taxation increase for the people in McLean County. So that's one of the deals that I'm working on. There's also going to be a Lyme disease bill come up. I've handed off the sponsorship to Dan Swanson to run that. I don't know. There's some kind of an education omnibus bill in the works of some sort. They wanted to incorporate my teacher's master's degree scholarship program into, so they may take that off the floor. So yeah, there's lots of things going on. We just have to keep your eyes open watch for alerts and, we'll do everything we can to keep people informed.
Right.
Yeah.
Chris, what else is going on that you're aware of for the coming week or that we need to know about?
No, Dan kind of summed it up. I mean, I think that the question that we need to continually ask is a pretty simple one: is why are we doing this? You
Yeah.
know, very, very rarely do you hear that question asked, but I know on a lot of this energy and environment stuff, I think that's a question that needs to be continually asked, like the CO2 pipeline. Why are we doing this?
Mhm.
We have millions of acres of green leafy plants that absorb carbon dioxide and make oxygen. It's a miracle.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is such a sham and such a lie. And it's like none of the adults in the room want to put their hand up and say, time out. We need to recalculate this. This is a bad idea and it needs to go away.
Right. Right. Exactly. And Chris, you're the chairman of the Illinois Freedom Caucus. Where can they go to find out more about what's going on at the Illinois Freedom Caucus? Let's see if I can find
Well,
that
you can
website here.
either go to our Facebook page or you can go to our website, IllinoisFreedomCaucus.org. And Colin Mosley does a really good job of keeping everything up to date on the Facebook page as well as the website.
Mm-hmm. And they can sign up for our weekly
Oh,
e-news
yeah.
there.
Yeah, don't forget everybody in the Freedom Caucus, I think, has a weekly newsletter, and I know the Freedom Caucus does also. And it's a way to keep yourself informed of what's happening in Springfield.
Right. Yep, guys, you can find us anywhere. Just search our name. It should hopefully pop up somewhere, both on the official and the unofficial side, and
Yeah.
subscribe. And like always, we ask you to subscribe and follow and like and share our content to overcome the big tech overlords and their algorithmic gods.
Yeah.
All right, guys. With that, I think we're going to close out. Last chance for closing comments. Unless that's anybody have anything else to say?
Look forward to seeing everybody in Springfield.
Looks like
Yep.
another busy week. Let us know, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good evening.